We are now trying to discharge it at any cost, even if China and Korea are against it. You know why? I give you a clue. Because we no longer have enough land to store it. So we have no lands anymore to store 100 tons of water in storage tanks every day. We are running out of space to store radioactive slurry from contaminated water. Oh my god, that's a lot. Hundreds of tons of water are still accumulating at the site, and it is estimated to be full by the end of next February to June. It's coming up soon. We don't have time to think. Yeah, the slurry tanks almost reach full capacity. Our vast land is so limited because Japan is too small island, right? Yeah, we can't even expand the extra storage space. We can't even ignore the devastated nuclear power plant forever. Sooner or later, we're gonna have to decommission the whole facility back to normal. We have to remove the fuel debris out of the contaminated facility, filter dirty water through ALPS, and transform it into the treated water and dilute with the seawater. Absolutely, we need to make sure not to discharge radioactive materials into the external environment no matter what happens. It has to be monitored and managed with full of supervision 24 hours a day. But in any case, to do so, we need land. Otherwise, we're gonna be so f***ed up. Well, we might have picked up alternative ways to discharge the treated contaminated water somewhere safe, but the release into the ocean would be realistic, and cost performance would be cheaper than anything else. So there's a bunch of strong oppositions against it. There's an opposition proposed by surrounding countries, like we shouldn't do it. So here, in this episode, we get a little bit deeper into it to discover as to what's going on with international politics, because this is crucially important to understand it. Look at China first. China's government banned imports of Japanese seafoods on August 24th, accusing Japan of discharging the treated contaminated water. When I heard the news saying that China suspended all seafood imports from Japan, I thought that's absurd. If China suspends all seafood imports, Japan might as well complain for China's unfair claim. I think so, but China doesn't stop unfair treatment. Same thing as Korea. Yeah, South Korea also restricted imports from Fukushima and other 8 prefectures surrounding Fukushima because of the same reason. The discharge of treated water into the ocean is still dangerous. Well, I'm not sure if it's really true. Yeah, I'm thinking it might be a political pressure to depreciate the value of seafood caught in the east coast of Japan. I think it's partially true, but more importantly, local fishermen and its related people are strongly opposing the proposal for releasing water into the ocean. Here is another problem with the seafood industry, okay? China was a major export market for seafood, but it's been suspended since the late August. Nearly 20% out of the whole export market is China. In other words, China is buyer, and as country of origin, Japan is seller. Seller lost buyer. It means Japanese local seafood industry lost lots of profit margin. They had a huge impact on sales. How can fishing industry survive? Although the government plans to establish a fund to help the fishing industry to cope with China's import ban over the release of treated water, the domestic relationship between local fish agency and the Tokyo Electric Power Company is quite bad. The local officials are also against the release of treated water from Fukushima nuclear plant because they are so afraid of losing trust from China. They really hate the depreciation and the price down due to safety reason. China might be trying to manipulate mind control over them, because China knows that local fishermen do not trust the Japanese government as well. One day, Tokyo Electric Power Company released only a portion of contaminated water into the ocean without permission. Toden, Tokyo Electric Company, let me just make it in short as Toden, explained briefly like ALPS is gonna be a great device to purify and transform dirty water into drinking water, but the local people didn't understand it scientifically. So they had a big fight. They started fighting. Over a long-lasting debate, they had a promise not to release water, but later on, the government broke a promise. They repeated the same argument over the release of treated water. So I would rather say domestic, like internal discussion was time-consuming, to be honest. Scientifically, it's been verified that if we dilute wastewater, we can drink it. But people think it's gross or filthy or disgusting. A lot of negative words like that come out, I tell you what, whatever comes out, we need to make progress. 7 years, 8 years, and 10 years, we talked a lot. We have talked a lot, thousands of times. Over the controversial opinions, we need scientific evidence that it is completely safe. Gather information from reliable sources such as government agency, scientific research, studies, and trusted organizations. We looked for specific evidence that support the safety claims. We tested positive or negative, approved and regulated by the authorities, followed the security policy and guideline, blah, blah, blah. Over the long period of time, we accumulated experience and knowledge, So in order to understand each other, we need something that we are okay, So especially radioactive materials are intangible. We can't actually see it with our eyes open. All we can do is trust science then. Make sense? You study the you study the mechanism of nuclear power, how radioactive materials will affect the human body or stuff like you have no idea. You never understand what the fuck it means. Even if you watch TV, it doesn't explain everything to you. You go to church and pray for peace, and it doesn't prove you are so safe, right? What are you gonna do? Don't trust harmful rumor, but trust science because it makes sense. Now that let's say treated contaminated water is scientifically safe, but I wonder if the flooded nuclear plant can be decommissioned safely. The answer is not really. Unfortunately, that's a whole different story. One of the big headaches is the issue with compensation for nuclear damages. Toden was sued by many people, group of public companies, and more. Compensation payment is still unmeasurable. Toden is just a public company. Yeah, tremendous amount of payment bill are coming all the way from over there like a tsunami wave. Yeah, they can't afford to pay for the crazy amount of compensation. How can they survive? The Japanese government has to support. The government became our largest shareholder. Yeah, they invested in and held an above 50% stake in Toden. This means Toden was nationalized. The government finances compensations as public project. They issues national bonds as a way to release funds. Do you know how they're gonna be able to collect the funds and from who? They increase the electric bill. When they jack up utility cost, who has to pay? Me? You? No, we. They receive through taxes and other sources of revenue. Yeah, they needed to decommission the corrupted nuclear plant in Fukushima. That's quite tough exercise. Absolutely tougher than a release of treated water into the ocean, right? Yeah, because they have to get rid of fuel debris, fragments, and sort of scattered pieces of remains that are radioactive. You'll understand how difficult it is. As I researched and studied the fuel debris, I have found that it will take 30 to 40 years to completely remove. You can't get close. You can't. I mean, you can't even get close to the contaminated facility. If you fly a drone near the plant, it gets broken right away. It said that the removal of the fuel debris is, so to speak, the most difficult operation that no one has ever achieved in human history. It will be 2050. I'm gonna be dead. What's gonna happen in the meantime? Yeah, what's going on with slurry tanks stored in land? How are they supposed to be treated? Don't forget, 100 tons of contaminated water is produced every day. Japan is going to be monitored by the UN watchdogs and the WTO and many other countries nationwide. Japan is already worn out. Japan is sick and tired of harmful rumor that is completely fake. How do you think Japan is going to be able to take care of nuclear power? How do you think we should treat it? What is a nuclear power for you? Answer me. Well, if you allow me to answer, I can tell you that the future of Japan is just same as radioactive material because it is intangible. In order to resolve this eternal issue, first of all, I think we have to understand the science, each other, and how painful tsunami earthquake was. I made today's video not only just because I wanted you to enjoy, but also because I wanted you to understand. I stand right here as a Japanese YouTuber. I would like to present to you how important the release of treated water into the ocean and how meaningful the decommission of the broken nuclear plant will be for the future of Japan. There still might be a like or dislike opinion about my video, but I really hope to understand each other and start helping Fukushima and Japan for the future. I look forward to your thoughts and opinions. Thanks for watching.